today we are going to be talking about webinars and how you as an organization can use webinars to drive revenue to your company. Only if they're done right though, because I feel like webinars are slept on a little bit.
They are.
People don't really think that it's really going to do much for their business, but
I think people think that they're a massive undertaking until
Yeah.
they get into them and start doing them.
exactly. Yeah. And if they're done right, they can really drive a lot of success. So welcome to the 5K5. I am Mark, and this is Manny. He's going to join us today. You've seen him before.
Thanks, guys.
So yeah, Manny's going to be sharing a screen and presenting something about webinars.
Yeah, I'm super excited to share this. I'm probably going to spend about the first 4 minutes. I know these are supposed to be about 5 minutes, heavy hitting, ton of value. The first 4 minutes, I'm probably just going to be convincing people that webinars are worth doing.
Heck
So
yeah.
we're gonna be throwing out some stats. I want to make it as close to 5 minutes as possible. So I set up a visual so that people can track along, almost like a slide deck, so we can go along and go through that together. And we
Perfect.
can always make that available to people afterwards as
Awesome.
well. Cool. So I will get right in, and I will start by saying that this creates a silent buyer problem. Now, what I mean by a silent buyer problem is it's not the buyer being silent themselves. It's if the organization is silent, then they have a buyer problem. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So as we get on here, the silent buyer problem, the trust gap. There's a big trust gap right now in people who don't know if they're looking for a product or a service, but they're not really comfortable with the vendor or who it is that's selling it. They're probably not going to buy it. So we always talk about omnipresence. How are we constantly in front of the buyers that we want to be in our sales funnel? And how are we adding value and providing that? Especially through follow-ups. So follow-ups is a big thing.
Yeah.
Something that I struggled with in the past. We can't just follow up with people and say, hey, how are we doing on this? Just following up, checking in. Are you ready to get going on this project yet or not? Like, people don't respond well to that. So how do we stay in front of them? Webinars is one way we do that. I want to make this statement, which is pretty bold. Your biggest competitor is no longer your rival product. It is silence. It's your own silence.
Yeah.
It's not the buyer's silence. It's your own. And here's some stats that back that up. So Forrester reported that 92% of B2B buyers already have a specific vendor in mind before they ever start a formal evaluation process. As reported by Sixth Sense, the average buyer is now 61% of the way through their journey before they ever even speak to a sales representative.
That's wild.
Yep. And if a stranger hasn't built trust with you during their silent research phase, you aren't on their short list.
Yeah. And I think AI is changing the game with that, because before AI, I guarantee you that number would have been way lower of people who were already on their journey of, making a decision. Because now with AI, you can search anything, research so many companies, they can get recommendations. It's just,
You can source the information a lot quicker.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it takes on average 13 to 20 different touch points for anyone to make a purchasing decision in the first place. So again, webinars would be one of those touch points. Now, Mark, you drove in to work in a BMW this morning.
Yes.
Is that your BMW?
That is not my BMW.
Why did you drive the BMW into the office today?
Because I needed a car to drive to the work today.
Where's your car?
At the shop.
At the shop. Okay, your car's at the shop. Is it getting like an oil change? Is it getting what's happening?
It's getting some performance upgrades.
Performance upgrade.
Oh yeah.
So what's one of them? Is there a specific piece or part that you're most excited about that's going on the car?
I'm very excited about. I got performance summer track tires.
Sick. All right. Question for you. How long ago did you know you wanted summer performance tires on your car?
When I bought the car.
How long ago did you buy the car?
About 8 months ago.
Did you know 8 months ago when you bought that car, the exact you knew you wanted those tires. Did you know the exact tire and the brand of tire that you were going to buy?
No.
So you're telling me over the past 8 months, you have been searching for the right tire for your car to go cruising around with your buddies this summer.
Yeah.
8 months of research.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Did you contact anyone previous to the past few weeks when you finally knew you wanted to purchase them and send it into the shop?
No, sir.
But I bet you did a heck of a lot of research finding the right ones.
Oh, yeah.
You already knew going into the process before you bought them which ones you were going to buy, but that happened over the process of the past 8 months.
Yeah.
So think about that for a second. Now,
it's wild to hear it that way,
It is, yeah, right? So like, people are searching for your products and services. They may not be in buy now mode, but when they are, guess who they're coming to, because you have provided them so much value. You're the first name, you're top of mind for them to come and purchase that product.
Yeah.
Because you've had all of these touch points in the past.
Exactly.
Webinar is another touch point. And I'm going to prove to you the value of a webinar as being a touch point. So this is this is kind of a lead pathway power grid that I'm showing right now, ranked by a 3-year ROI. So if this was a 3-month ROI, these rankings and these tiers would be much different. I want to be very clear in saying that this ranking tier does not mean that we would recommend paid search as a last ditch effort down here as the last thing, right? In fact, normally, if a client is just coming to us, we normally recommend PPC first. We can get into all that later, but that gives us a lot of intel and historical data to be able to target the correct keywords that are going to drive revenue for that organization. So this is not to say this is how you should go about marketing your business in this exact order. This is just a kind of a large picture of a 3-year ROI pulled from a bunch of different sources. You can see those over there on the right. Thought leadership in SEO, 3-year ROI is 748%, about $31 to $206 per lead on those. Again, 3-year, if this was a 3-month ROI, that ROI, I'd be surprised if we saw a 10% ROI. So again, 3 years. Referral marketing, we're sitting at about 5 to 800% ROI over 3 years. Webinars comes in at number 3 at 430% ROI on a webinar with an average cost per lead of $72 to $276. Now, if you're going a lot higher ticket price, that's obviously going to fluctuate a little bit, but these are some really good base numbers. Then we have email marketing, account-based marketing, organic social on LinkedIn, trade shows, and then paid search as well. So webinars are absolutely, it might start out slow. You might get 1 person in a webinar, 2 people in a webinar, 5 people in a webinar. Keep doing them. Don't get discouraged by that as long as you're providing value and give away some secret sauce. You know, think about the Alex Hormozy concept, right? Blast them with so much value that other people would charge for, right? Because if you're giving someone $100 worth of value on a $0 ask, imagine how much value they think they're going to get when they spend $100. In their mind, well, shoot, I got $100 for free. If I'm spending $100, I'm likely going to get $300-$400 worth of value out of this. I definitely want to do it. So keep providing value, keep hitting that. Why webinars are becoming the #1 trust engine? Quality over quantity is a really big one. So 73% of B2B marketers rank webinars as their #1 source for high quality leads.
Wow.
75% of B2B buyers would rather sign up for a webinar than any other gated asset, such as an ebook or a white paper. I dug into the psychology of this a little bit, and I've kind of dumbed it down to it's more of an ask to get an ebook or a white paper that then they have to go through themselves. It's a lot of work for them. Not only do they have to read it, they have to consume it, they have to understand it and retain it somehow off of reading it off a piece of paper. That's a lot of work for them. But in a webinar, very relaxed. They can kind of hang back and just consume all of that information. And then there's usually like some kind of takeaways or slide decks or something like that.
Q&A at the end
that they'll get afterwards. So that's another thing. And I'll get into that here in a bit. Sure. But that is a good one right there. What was it you just said?
The Q&A.
Q&A is a big one. So interactivity of people. And I will show that here. So the attention monopoly, while a social clip only gets 76 seconds of attention in 2026, a live webinar attendee will stay engaged for an average of 51 to 57 minutes.
That's crazy.
The psychology of reciprocity. This is a good one. So giving away high value education triggers a psychological internal credit in the stranger's mind, making them feel a social obligation to return the favor by taking a sales action.
Yeah.
Right.
And I see that all the time where it's like, let's say you have a meeting with a sales guy. Like, for instance, I was meeting with a guy who might want to, at my wedding, fly me in his helicopter and stuff like that. And I met him at this venue and I felt so bad because it wasn't going to work at the venue. And I drug him all the way out there.
Right.
He took his time to meet with me and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, I need to figure out a solution so I can make this work for him. And it's just, it's like the psychology behind it. Like, you want them to feel good.
Yeah.
Because that makes you feel better about, dragging them into it. You know what I mean?
100%. 100%. And then the other thing, back to what I just said earlier about the $100 value.
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing that you're going to get a lot more value than what it is that you're paying for also goes into that. So, all right, next one, real proof. And this is the last slide where I'm going to be convincing everyone, and then I'm going to give kind of some short tips on how to actually get started.
Yeah.
So speed to lead is a massive one. We talk about it all the time. There's a little bit of a different framework for that. So Adobe achieved 43% conversion rate by passing live engagement data, like poll answers, to sales teams within 1 hour of the event.
Dang.
SAP America, by using targeted virtual events for high value accounts, SAP generated 27 million in new pipeline and 57 million in new revenue.
It's insanity.
Groker, their SaaS company, converted 40% of their webinar registrants into MQLs by automating their follow-up process.
That's the follow-up process is massive.
It is.
And it's a huge issue with when companies don't do it.
Yeah, 100%. So, and there's a lot that goes into that follow-up process.
Yep.
So now that everyone's convinced that webinars are actually worth doing, if you've never done one, it's not difficult. Okay. And this next slide is just going to give you a little bit of a checklist to show you how to get started. First one, you do not need a massive production budget. As reported by CVent, 80% of marketers use just 1 to 10% of their budget on webinars. So do something very simple like starting on Zoom. Invite people into the meeting. We did that for our last webinar. We used Google Meet, and we used Riverside as well for the display and videography and things like that. But we were just able to put the link right in the Google Meet.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was seamless. The webinar went really, really well. So you don't have to have a massive budget. Just get on camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Get on camera. Structure for entertainment. So we use the 60-30-10 rule. 60% pure education. Give away some secret sauce. Don't do like the boilerplate stuff that everyone knows. If you're doing a development project, give away the software.
Yeah.
Let them know exactly what it is that you're using. That's okay. 30% social proof. So case studies. Who have you done this for in the past? What's your proof of concept here, right?
Yeah.
And has it worked? Has it worked for other people? And then 10% is that soft offer. So a low pressure next step. A lot of times, well, it should be completely free. So for us, that could be a GSS, a growth strategy session. If we're having a webinar on AI, we can do, anyone who requests it, we'll do an AI audit with their team. A half-hour session, completely free, so that we can kind of frame things up for them and give them a first like really clear next best step. That would be one for us. So, and then the 5x3 method. So break your talk into 5 main strategies with 3 sub steps each to help attendees retain the information. And then the last one is one thing that we've been doing is leaning into the podcast style webinars. It makes it feel a lot more relaxed. In fact, Imra and Elma reported that 63% of attendees now prefer interactive conversational formats with live polls and Q&A over passive viewing.
Yeah.
So get people involved. If you've been hesitant to start a webinar, get it going now and just keep it consistent. Do one a week, do one a month. Whatever the case is, as long as you're providing high value, you're getting in front of the people that you want to be in front of. We can talk about how to actually get people on the webinars later and then how to follow up with those people, those registrants afterwards. But for now, I think this is a great start.
Yeah, I agree. Manny, thank you so much for joining the 5K5 today. If you want to leave the audience with one thing, what would it be?
The buyer's journey is fundamentally a risk mitigation exercise. You do not need a massive production budget or a perfect script to win. You just need to hop on a Zoom, solve one real problem for a stranger, and prove that you are the lowest risk, highest value solution in the room.
Awesome.
In 2026, the person who provides the most clarity is the one who gets the contract.
100%. Yeah. Awesome. Manny, thank you so much. Listeners, thank you for listening and tune in for the next one. Peace out.